They just won't ever learn, will they? They just won't ever learn. G4TV Senior Vice President Blair Herter tells gamers don't watch us after Frost's rant. Now, people just found this, and I have a feeling that if there's more people at G4TV that are in a position of some kind of administration or, a vice president role like Mr. Blair Herter here, it's going to be found, especially if they said something about it publicly, and there's going to be stories written about it, just further cementing the fact that this goes pretty much from the bottom to the top, right? From the talent to probably the crew to probably the people that are in charge. Now, Blair Herter, I believe, is the vice president of content partnership, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not surprising, right? That people all around there at G4, again, at G4, not necessarily Comcast, because who knows how the people at Comcast feel about this, which are the owners of G4TV. It'd be interesting to see what any of them have to say in regards to Frost's rant and whether or not they approved of what she was said. G4TV Senior Vice President Blair Herter, who was previously a host on the network's Attack of the Show and XPlay programs, told gamers to not watch G4 following Frost's now infamous rant about ism in gaming. So I'm not going to go over this part here because we know all this already, right? We heard the rant. There's a link to the video here, but it's pretty easy to find. Just type that title in, and you'll find it. But this is basically just going over all that she said. So we have here, it says, in response to this rant, Herter, who according to his LinkedIn oversees the brand division of G4, which houses the marketing, PR, social community, and branded content teams, tweeted, "Grateful to spend my life with a woman who smashed glass ceilings. Honored to work with the women of G4TV's past and humans like Frost today. Proud to work at a place that makes stuff like this. Really, stuff that insults a good portion of your fan base and paints them all with a pretty broad brush. Yeah, sounds like a formula for success." He then added, "If you don't want to hear the below, unfollow me and don't watch us. We're not for you." Never ever say that. That's the dumbest shit that you can possibly say, right? Because people take you up on that. And there are examples that are provided here to kind of parallel that, which we'll go over here. But let's take a look over. See, so you can see this is an actual tweet that he put out. And if you look at his profile here, I found some of these things pretty interesting here, right? Husband of best wife, Jessica Chobot. That would be Jessica Chobot, formerly of IGN, right? And it says here, brand human at G4TV. Opinions are my own and Les just gave them to me. Well, I'm sure she does a lot of thinking for both of you. So you have that, right? And by the way, don't contact these people. Obviously, we don't condone that here. Let's just point and laugh at them. We don't condone harassment of any kind. So just putting that disclaimer out there. But I know my fan bases, they're solid with that stuff. So it says comments like this from Herter shouldn't be unexpected, given Herter described President Donald Trump rallies as those kind of rallies back in November 2019. He wrote on Twitter, "The World Series, hashtag UFC 244, public appearances outside of your own. Carefully, that kind of rallies are bigly hard." Yeah, Donald Trump. It's funny, and he shared this clip, which people were like saying, "Oh, he got booed out of the building," which wasn't, nothing could be further from the truth. I'm sure there was plenty of boos, but there was also a lot of cheers for him when he entered the building there at UFC 244, because there was different perspectives. So, and if you hear from the broadcast, it sounded like more cheers than boos to me, but who knows? Maybe that's up to interpretation. Maybe it's all about how you interpret it. I don't know. But comments like these usually end in disaster. Captain Marvel writer Kelly Sue DeConnick infamously said, "If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book," in an interview in 2017. She would add, "I'm going to make the book that I'm going to make. If you don't want to read them, don't read them." Oh, and people didn't. That's why those books have been such a colossal failure and why they've had to be relaunched over and over and over again. 2 years later, DeConnick was lamenting the state of the comic book industry, saying, "Boy, that's hard because from our perspective, the industry has contracted and we're very worried about comics right now." It's always interesting to me that the outside perspective is always comics are booming. Later in the interview, she would add, "I think I tend to be pretty optimistic, but in this one I'm worried. I'm straight worried because stores are closing at a phenomenal rate. Independent comic sales are down. Mainstream comic sales are down, except the top 3 or 5 books are up. Everything in the mid list is way down. Numbers that used to be numbers would get you canceled are now like, no, that's a hit. Independent books making back the cost of doing floppies is like names that should be able to do it, no sweat, are going to the red on singles and not coming out until the trades, and it worries me, she elaborated. Electronic Arts, EA, did the same thing in regards to Battlefield 5 when their chief creative officer, Patrick Soderlund, told fans not to buy the game. Oh yes, the infamous don't like it, don't buy it, right? He stated, we don't take any flack, we stand up for the cause because I think those people who don't understand it, well, you have two choices, either accept it or don't buy the game. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with either. It's just not okay. Well, yeah, it ended up not being okay at all for EA because of this. Because I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like 78%. Like pre-sales were down like 78%. Something to that effect. I'm not exactly sure on the numbers, but I know it was up there. Sutherland then insulted gamers, describing them as uneducated. He said, these are people who are uneducated. They don't understand that it is a plausible scenario. And listen, this is a game, and today's gaming is gender diverse like it hasn't been before. There are a lot of female people who want to play and male players who want to play as a badass woman. Yeah, nobody would have disputed that there's men and women that want to play these games. Probably not a good idea to call the people that would presumably be buying this game, which a good large portion of that audience would be male, calling them uneducated, right? Because then they're going to vote with their dollars and they're going to vote to take them somewhere else, maybe to your competitor. So EA CEO Andrew Wilson would also admit during the company's 2019 Q3 financial call that the game sales were poor.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
If you think about Battlefield 5 more holistically, I think we did not do a great job of building momentum early in the project. And I think about this not just in the context of development, but I think about this in the context of about broader execution against the entire campaign. Yeah, I think insulting the people that would potentially buy the game, probably not the best strategy, right? Our launch didn't resonate strongly enough. I wonder why, as we would have liked it to players with players, and we're never truly able to catch up as our competitors continue to build momentum, whether it was Fortnite or Red Dead Redemption 2 or Call of Duty. A combination of a poor start in our marketing campaign together with what I think was a longer development cycle that put us into a more competitive window and amplification. The competitive window against some of those underperformance factors is how we resulted in Battlefield, he added. That's funny. This trend appears to be continuing with G4 as Social Blade notes their YouTube channel has lost over 7,000 subscribers since Frost Rant, and G4TV is doubling down on it. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Numbers don't lie, and that is a significant number. I mean, look, it's not to say that they can't gain it back, but at this point, I think it almost feels, and I'm going to step into the realm of conspiracy here. It almost feels like they got into a meeting before the relaunch of G4 and said, you know what? We actually don't want it back. Instead of having it die a slow and painful, inevitable death, let's just take Old Yeller behind the shed and just, take care of him right away here in 2022 by doubling and tripling down on this stance that we know is going to probably be bad for business. It's going to it's going to push people away, right? Screw it. Let's do it. Screw them all. Screw G4TV. We hate it too, and we think it should have been done back in 2012, I think, is when they initially were done, something like that. It was either 2012 or 2014. I can't remember the exact date, but whenever it was that they closed up shop beforehand, they just decided let's bury it again. Let's bury G4TV again, and that seems to be what's happening. So I'm here for it. Like I said, it's more content for me. I find it funny because they don't learn. They never learn. That doing this, slapping people in the face, they don't stop to think for a moment. They don't have the capacity to realize that people on both sides of the aisle, it's split down 50-50, right? Like video games too. And there were people that watched G4TV back in the day, right, that were not just the same kind of people that agree with you ideologically. They're people that loved video games and liked the entertainment and content that you were providing them. but they seem to have forgotten that. But hey, they're supposed to be the open-minded ones, right? Huh? Yep, right? Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, you know how it goes. The hunt continues.